All right, so now you know your way around the dashboard. It's time to add our first product. You wouldn't need a store without a product, so that's why Shopify recommends it as the very first thing to do, and I happen to agree. So in the future, you're going to find products and all of the related information over here on the left side in the tabs of the menu. But for now, because we're prompted to add our first product, we can just go ahead and click right here in the center. And we are brought up with the new simplified Shopify product setup page. I think this is an important page to take our time and make sure we understand every aspect of this page. I'm just going to quickly scroll down to show you the breadth of it. So a lot of different things we can add. I'm going to take you through this one by one. So if you're deciding to start a Shopify store, it's very likely you have a product in mind. So if you don't have a product in mind, it's going to be hard to proceed. But if you do, this is where you begin to build out your store. Because I'm doing a store for nomad travelers, the first product that I'm going to offer is a backpack. So as you would do the same, you can just go ahead and fill out the title. Now, to be sensible, you want a much more descriptive title. You want to have things that are absolutely key for your customer to see. So you might not list the features in your title, but for instance, it might be important to list the size. Maybe this is a 50-liter backpack. And maybe sort of if it's waterproof and perhaps the color. There are sort of different things you can try in your product titles. This has a little bit to do with search engine optimization, categorization of products. You don't want to overdo it. You want to be straight to the point as to what you're offering. Now, in the description, obviously, this is the chance to write out a lot more extended copy. Copywriting being sales-driven content. So, talking about the benefits, no doubt about it. Talking about the features, I think specs. And I'd probably have sort of a opening summary or romantics type of description. And you want to sort of sell your products, I recommend that you write a lot in your description. Give people a mental movie about what they might be purchasing. Let them visualize themselves having this backpack or whatever product you're selling. Don't just jump straight into the features and specs. Give people a little bit of that romanticism around the emotional aspects of making a purchase. So many things people purchase online are due to how they're feeling. So the description is a great place to evoke those feelings. Now, this is like any other, what you see is what you get editor. I can go ahead and highlight things and bold them, underline them. I can turn things into bulleted lists, numbered lists. I can indent things. A lot of different options here, inserting tables and images. But really, you're going to mostly just have text here. Of course, you can build it out with different things, but there's an area right below for images. So drag it in, there we go. And as you can see, the left image is showing a little bit more prominently. We can swap any image. The leftmost image is going to be your featured image. So use your most beautiful picture there. Let's see what else we have here on the right side before we continue to scroll down. Looks like there's an area product availability. You can select your sales channel here. As I mentioned in the opening, we only are focusing on an online store, but you may have a in-person POS system and you can make that product available on the various channels. Product type. This is a chance for us to categorize a bit of our images. So we're going to call this bag and we're going to click add bag. We've essentially just added a new category to our organization. And maybe there's a vendor here. If you have a name for the backpack, if you're creating your own original goods, then maybe you don't need an area for vendor. So I'm not going to put anything there. You can also add a collection. A collection is different from a product type in that collection of products don't necessarily have to have any relatability. Perhaps the collection is a certain type of product set for a certain type of customer. Maybe the person traveling to Southeast Asia, they're going to have a different collection than the person traveling to Antarctica. These different type of weathers, perhaps your products are stored in collections like that. So I'm going to call this collection, warm weather. And perhaps later I'll have a cold weather collection as well. We also have tags. Tags can be used to define your products even more specifically than collections. Some companies may use tags as a means to organize their content, but the truth is tags don't add that much value to the user experience. I don't see people using tags all that often to navigate websites. I see them using menus. Tags are something that's available to us, but I personally don't see them as that valuable. You may ultimately find them very valuable. Okay, here we have price. Setting your price for your, goods, very important part of having an e-commerce store. This is just a basic setting. Perhaps your price is $30. A compare at price, you might have some competitors and you can list their price there. I don't really love this feature. I don't think it's that beneficial in an e-commerce space. However, some people might find it useful simply for the psychological selling factor. So I do recommend that you set your products to 99 cents. There is a psychological factor to selling that is tried and true. So I think it's wise. You can go flat numbers if you like. You can try different things, but most people find that the 99 cents is still the most optimal way to maximize your price. Cost per item. This might be if you have a grouping of items or you want to break that price down for someone. I haven't really seen this feature too often used before. As well, you can determine whether taxes are going to be charged on this product. Perhaps, like for instance, if I'm selling to someone in Canada and I have an e-commerce shop living in Canada, I do have to pay taxes on I have to charge taxes on all of the Canadian sales. It's up to you to do the due diligence to find out whether or not your products need to be charged taxes. Each individual country, it may have different rules and regulations. Going down a little bit further, here is where we are going to keep our inventory information. So you might have a SKU. This is going to help you keep your units, your products organized by barcode as well. These types of numbers and symbols are simply used for higher volume stores. If you don't have those, you may not be worried about them. You may be a smaller shop. But if you do have 30 to 50 SKUs, this is going to be a very important area. If you're using barcodes for your products, this is also going to be very important. However, in typical e-commerce, we don't see a lot of usage of barcode because sales aren't happening, via a scanning system. People are adding things to cart by clicking buttons. So we don't see that as much in the online store, more so in the local POS systems. Inventory policy, maybe you don't even want to track inventory. You can just turn it off right there. But perhaps it is more important for you. You're going to go ahead. If you have 10 of these bags, you can go ahead and write 10. There is some ability to add inventory, transferring it from a different location or recording incoming inventory now. I don't see that as something you really need to focus on at this time. Here we're asking, is this a physical product? Many people these days are selling digital products, informational products. So it is important to list here because you're going to be adding a weight for your bag. Our bag is going to be 1.5 kg. And this is going to help estimate and calculate shipping rates, which can all be automated in Shopify. If you have an international customs tariff code, you can look up the code here, find out what it is. If I have a backpack, I'm going to go ahead and type that in, see what comes up. Looks like 4202 for backpack. So we can go ahead and put 4202 there. Fulfillment service. Only Shopify is set here. Perhaps this feature is going to say different things depending on what apps you use. I know a lot of Canadian e-commerce stores are using ShipStation. Perhaps that's something you can look into as well to fulfill the delivery. So fulfillment, if you weren't aware, is the aspect of taking a order from purchase all the way to delivery. That is the fulfillment of the sale. Everything on the e-commerce website is prior. So fulfillment is actually happening outside of the website in a sense that you're packing your boxes, you're putting on mailing labels, you're sending them off, you're calling UPS or FedEx, these sorts of things. That is fulfillment, and there are fulfillment services available for you to do all of that automatedly. Variants, this product might come in different versions, sizes, or colors. We can go ahead and add, 80-liter version here. And then we can even add 120 liter, something like that for backpacks. I don't really know the full sizes. And then you're given an option to raise the price here for the different variants, which I think is wise, obviously, having different prices for your different offers, setting the SKU barcode and the inventory there as well. So depending on if you have variants or not, this could be a very important place to keep your product information very readily available. You don't want to be creating different products for just a variant. It's going to make your store a lot more complicated. So make sure you know the difference between have a completely different product requiring its own product page versus having one product with different variants such as colors or size, and you're just going to want to have the one page, because when people are checking out looking at your product, they might want to just be able to purchase right then and there the different size based on their needs. They're not going to want to necessarily have to navigate to some other web page. Search engine listing preview, obviously relatively important. What we write here is going to play an impact in not only where we get ranked, if at all, but what people see when they go through Google, when they go through Bing, they see your listing. You want to be as descriptive as possible here. You want to have the right words that are going to get people to come and check out your page. So you're definitely going to want to write powerful copy here. You have to be very concise, the world's best backpack for nomads, something like that, and then carrying on with some of the reasons why you should get it. Leading backpack technology for longer trips and safer and safety, things like this, giving them a good sense of what the product is. I wouldn't necessarily change the handle here, but you could if you found yours was very long to something a lot more. Maybe you just go to Backpack 50L, something like that. Title, you might want to add in your company name here, right, to give a little bit more brand image. So if I go Supernatural Nomad as my store name, that looks pretty good, right? So this is an area where you are creating a search engine presence. You're helping people find you through search. I'll be honest, it's not easy to rank a product just with a Shopify page on its own. But sometimes if you're in a very little tiny niche or you have a very unique original product, this area alone could be game changing for your business. If you optimize your listing correctly, it could lead to a lot more organic search traffic. If people are looking for you, this is where you can help them find. So that is going to do it for the product page. You'd go ahead, go up to the top, click save once you're done. Looks like I had an error with the product. So if you haven't filled this out correctly, you can go on down and look for where that error listing is. It said, I believe this is the International Customs Code, Harmonized System Code. I'm guessing it's right here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Not really critical. Go ahead and click save again. Looks like the product was successfully saved. We can go ahead and click the view button here. It's going to open up a new tab and you're going to get to see your product in all its glory. Doesn't that look beautiful? Beautiful product. We can magnify into it by automatic feature set here, just zooming in. So that's a good advantage of uploading a well-sized JPEG image, high quality. And then of course we have another backup image here. We have the 3 variants. Interestingly enough, I made a mistake and I'd like to explain it to you. When I set up the variants, you actually need to set the original variant as well. So I had created the product for a 50L and then I only added in the 80L and 120L. I actually need to add in the 50L as well as a variant. So even though the original product was created for that, the second you get into variants, you need to put the original one you had as well. So I reloaded here, as you can see, 50, 80, 120, a little out of order. How would we go and fix that? And notice on the 50L here, I thought it said it was out of stock earlier. So obviously we do have to be aware of, if we set up inventory, then we're going to have to make sure the quantity is not 0. Otherwise it's going to show itself as out of stock. Let's go ahead and save any changes you make. I'm just having a quick look over here. One of the things I'm interested here is I put these variants out of order, and if you're like me, you probably want to have them in order. Let's go back to the product. Not just, that was in the variants menu right there. Let's see if I can, yes, reorder variants. That's a little bit of a feature that we overlooked earlier, but you can see I can just drag and drop them. And this is an area that's going to be important for you if you do have variants, to go in here, edit the options, edit options here, setting the different types of variants, add variants for multiple different types. But then when you want to go in and change something, you'd want to highlight the checkbox here and go in to click edit. You can also do bulk editing here. That's pretty powerful as well. So yeah, you can see that the product page is very robust. It has a lot of different options, and you can always go ahead and click that view button, come back here, make sure everything's looking nice and clean. Like, this looks really good already. There's a very nice product page. I'd love to see a lot more copy written out here. I have some social share buttons. Obviously I've integrated with PayPal. We can also set up different payment options later on. We haven't done that yet. So we're only at the first stage of adding a product. But we will end this video there. I think that was a good overview of how to add a product and every option sort of looked at in depth on the product page. The next thing to do is going to be adding a theme. So maybe you don't like the way this page looks. Let's change it. Let's do that in the next video.